Good morning, New Life Church. How are you guys doing today? My name is Tracy, and I am honored to be a part of NLC Worship, and I'm excited to spend a few minutes with you this morning. So, continuing in our family series this week, we are talking about raising kids. So, if you know me, you are probably thinking, I thought you didn't have any kids. And you are correct. I do not have any of my own children yet, but I was asked to give a little bit of a different perspective on raising kids. So I'm excited to spend just a couple minutes with you guys today. So we're going to take a look at the passage in Luke where 12-year-old Jesus and his parents traveled from Nazareth to Jerusalem for the festival of the Passover. So we're going to look at Luke chapter 2. Verses 41 through 47. And it says, every year, Jesus' parents went to Jerusalem for the festival of the Passover. When he was 12 years old, they went up to the festival according to the custom. After the festival was over, while his parents were returning home, the boy Jesus stayed behind in Jerusalem, but they were unaware of it. Thinking he was in their company, they traveled on for a day. Then they began looking for him among their relatives and friends. When they did not find him, they went back to Jerusalem to look for him. After 3 days, they found him in the temple courts, sitting among the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions. Everyone who heard him was amazed at his understanding and his answers. So this trip to Jerusalem from Nazareth, this was an annual event. So Mary and Joseph probably had a nice little routine figured out for their travel plans because this was a yearly event. They had done it before. So when people would travel to this festival, they would usually go in crowds, which would include their family and their friends or acquaintances. At the time, Jerusalem normally housed about 600,000 people, but when it came time for the festival, the Passover, over 3 million people would come from all over. Sidebar, has anybody ever been to Disney World and you see that family who they are walking around all wearing matching shirts, generally pretty bright in color, and it just makes it easy for them to identify. Raise your hand if you are that family. No judgment here. Okay, so a festival with 3 million people wandering around would be the perfect scenario for matching outfits, right? But I digress. So we're looking at the portion of scripture that's saying, after the festival was over, while his parents were returning home, the boy Jesus stayed behind in Jerusalem, but they were unaware of it. Thinking he was in their company, they traveled on for a day. Then they began looking for him among their relatives and friends. Time out. It just kind of makes me smile a little bit to think, How did you not know that your kid was not with you for a day? But that's kind of beside the point. So, but this is where I do want to focus in. Imagine what it was like traveling with a crowd from your hometown, family and friends, on probably what was about a 4-day trek. The fact that Mary and Joseph did not know for an entire day that Jesus was not with them tells me that not only did they trust Jesus, but they also trusted the people who were in their community. Okay, so we've all heard the phrase, it takes a village to raise a child, right? So I've been able to go to Rwanda, which is a small country in Africa. I've been able to be there 7 times, and I absolutely love it over there. And I've seen that phrase lived out every time I'm there. Okay, so if you go to one of the villages in Rwanda, you will see all these people spending time together. You cannot tell which child belongs to which parent because everybody's taking care of each other. And it's truly the idea of it takes a village to raise a child. So, but since we live in a very, very different culture here in the U.S., how does that apply to us? How can we live that out? So parents, I just wanted to take some time to talk to you about the value and importance of having someone in your circle or in your village who can come alongside of you as you raise your kids, okay? I'm fortunate enough to have some very close friends in my life who have 2 young children. One is 5 and one is almost 2. And I've known both of these kids since they were born. I've been able to watch how the parents have raised them and see the practical things that they put into place, like eating habits, sleeping habits, rules regarding entertainment, and learning tools. But on a deeper level, I've also been able to watch and mirror how they pour into them as children of God. I've been able to step in at times when they may need me to help watch them, and I'm thankful, very thankful to be able to do that. And this has been an opportunity for me to help reinforce the good habits, the values and truths that their parents are working to instill in them every day. And I'm honored to be able to hold that place in their lives. Because of my regular time around them, not only have I been able to gain the trust of these kids, but I've also been able to gain the trust of their parents. And I don't take it lightly at all that they could leave one or both of these kids with me at any given moment, and they know that they don't have to worry about them. And although I don't believe it's my role to discipline their kids as the parents would, I do believe, however, that I have a platform because I've gained that trust, because I have a relationship with them. I have a platform to come alongside the parents teaching and bring gentle correction if needed, right? And just kind of help speak truth and life over them and make the most of teaching moments where these kids might need a little bit of guidance and correction, right? I can help train them up and point them in the right direction. I'm also able to help them on a daily basis and remind these kids of who God says that they are. I can constantly tell them how loved they are, how valued they are, and how worthy they are, right? So it's really cool to be able to have that space in their lives. This has been helpful for their parents just because they know that what they are teaching daily is being reinforced by someone else, so they don't have to feel like they're alone in what they're pouring into their kids. If you're like me, you've probably had your experience times when your parents told you, I don't know, 10 times over something. They told you something 10 times over, and it just went in one ear and out the other. But when someone in their circle or in their village would come and tell you the same thing, all of a sudden you heard it, right? It held a little bit different weight. And so sometimes it's really helpful to have those people who can support and reinforce what you are teaching your kids. So the relationships that I have with these kids are a huge blessing for me as well. So I mentioned it before, but I hope to have my own kids one day. But until I do, the love that these little ones give me is a huge, huge blessing and a reward. And not only do I have a ton of fun with them, but I also consider every moment that I have with them as a learning experience for myself. Okay, so it's not just for them, it's not just for their parents, but I'm also I'm not taking it for granted that I have a chance to learn from this as well. So it's preparing me for my future family, and I will say the relationship that I have with these kids happened very, very organically, but it has been one of the most rewarding things for me. So parents, I just want to challenge you to think, who would you consider to be in your village or in your crowd or in your circle, right? If you don't already have someone in that role, maybe take some time this week just to pray about who you can invite into your circle, and know that it may not happen overnight, but it may end up being something that's just what you need, and something that your family needs, something that you and your spouse need, maybe just to offer a little bit of relief for even just a couple hours, right? So know that as much as it helps lift a weight off of your shoulders, it's probably just as rewarding for those who are in your village as well. So thank you so much for hanging out with us this morning, New Life. I hope you have an incredible day.